Good morning, traders. It is 7:37 a.m. Chicago time on Tuesday, the 6th of December, 2022. This is episode number 2371. We're doing an early show today. I need to attend an event for my daughter at school this morning. It's breakfast with my daughter at the school with other parents, and I didn't want to miss it, so we're doing a show early. Sometimes it's just you got to compromise. I didn't want to skip. So this is episode number 2371. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. If you're here and listening, let me know how the sound is so I can make adjustments. If not, then let's dive into our pre-market summary sheet here. The overall posture of the market this morning is mixed after selling off yesterday. We have products that are trading basically against settlement. The S&P minis are basically unchanged on the session. The Dow's a little bit lower, the Nasdaq's a little bit higher, and so on. So flip-flop-ish overall, not much to talk about. The auction condition is balanced this morning. Looks like to me, looks like it's balanced rather than multi-distribution. Not much to report in terms of news events. We got a bunch of numbers out of Europe and so on, and then balanced trade out of the U.S. Balanced trade came in slightly better at a deficit of 78.2 billion versus 80 billion expected. The exports and imports numbers came out. And then we're going to get the Red Book year on year for December at 9:55 or 8:55 a.m. And then we'll see the Canadian IV PMI later, and then balanced trade out of China this evening at about 10 p.m. So that's where we stand this morning. In terms of earnings, nothing really major so far. Okay. Turning our attention to the S&P again, the auction condition really it is got multiple distributions, but really it's a balanced profile. We're seeing the full session mid, full session VWAP, and the overnight point of control on top of each other, really describing balance. 205,000 contracts have traded so far, so I'm expecting by the time the normal trader buy is done in about 20 minutes that this will be around 230, 240,000. The inventory 65% long in the overnight, and the range is only 20 points. It's the tightest range so far that we've seen in some time. So very, very coil-ish market. Let's switch our perspective here and look at yesterday. But I want you to go vote. Go vote, go vote, go vote. So I'd like you to go to eclear.me/event-voting. eclear.me/event-voting. You have a link in your live chat pinned to the top. This is also available on my Twitter feed, on EdgeClear's Twitter feed. We've made some pretty decent returns over the last couple of trades. We want to continue to do that. Remember, we're going to donate the entire value of the account at the end of the month to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a hospital dedicated to cancer research for children who cannot afford the treatment. A huge and very, very important cause. All it takes for you to do, not asking you to donate, I'm asking you to click to vote on whether or not the market will close higher, or whether or not it'll close higher than yesterday's settlement. So go vote. I'll put the positions on once I get back to the office at about what time? Probably 10 Eastern or so, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, so let's take a look at yesterday's expectations. Now, I talked yesterday. This is a shot from yesterday. I talked about how I'm really, and I discussed this over the last couple days, how I'm really expecting this market to be down here in the 70s. And yesterday, the expectation is we would check out 20, 10, and 04. 2010 and 04 was the target for yesterday, and that is on a test of 50, 50 to 54. And if we cannot push and hold 50 and 54, then we're looking for a short to push to 20, 10, and 04. Those of you who are here heard it. And here's what actually happened yesterday. Yesterday we opened. Where did we go? 55.50. So we pushed through the 54 by just a little bit. Remember, this isn't a precision business. We're not in the business of being precise. We're in the business of taking reasonable trades. And so it pulls back to the 55. Remember, 54.50 was the key. We want to see it fail from there. It failed pretty good. I mean, we put in the IB here, very weak IB. So now we're searching for a spot to get short. First spot to get short was right in here, scale and a stop. And in the second spot was right against the open and the VWAP, full session VWAP. And from there, it just ran off. The third spot to get short is the pullback on the IB. Let me zoom in a little bit. Zoom in a little bit here to show you that. So it puts in an IB, a pretty weak IB, right? The IB puts in a zipper. That zipper is support. That support pushes us back through the mid, pushes us back through the VWAP, RTH VWAP, and then gets us back up to the full session VWAP. And then we finally break through, poke the IB. We have an even weaker IB here. There's a statistic in here, historical probability, 83% of a break. The break comes in, and then we're looking for the pullback right here at the IB low for the continuation down. And we ended up pushing through the 4,000. Remember, our targets were 20 right in here. So that got hit here. The 10 got hit here. And the 04 got hit here. We ended up settling basically at the 04 last night. And that's basically where we are now. And what we've done since then is this kind of balance profile, push up, push down, squeeze up, squeeze up, squeeze down. But overall, full session VWAP, full session mid on top of the overnight point of control. So market's completely imbalanced. Market's completely imbalanced today, right at the millennial figure. So it is likely to do what this morning? What is your guess as to what I'm going to say about how it's going to most likely trade at the open? I'll let you answer that while I look at this. Here's the relative delta. How are we going to open? What am I going to say? Remember, I'm not here to give you answers. I'm here to help you see a better way of trading. What I believe is a better way of trading is to understand the auction. So here we reopen last night at 5 o'clock my time, and you can see that the action is pretty sideways. So is the delta. Then it starts to dip down, but overall the action is pretty sideways, right? It hasn't really done much, but the delta is straight down, and the delta is doing so on a small lot basis. The delta is controlled by the small lots, which is often the case. Yes, you're right, completely choppy. It's an open auction in range. There's no value yesterday. We have some single prints just above us. We have this millennial figure. We've got the overnight point of control, full session VWAP, full session mid on top of each other. You're talking about a pretty choppy open. So this is what we have to pay attention to. The delta is being controlled by the small lots, so there's really no real conviction. You can see the large and very large lots relatively inactive on the short side, but I'm still expecting that we would end up filling in. So yesterday, we filled in this structure. Remember, I talked about this structure, and this structure, and that structure takes us back to 70. 70 being the key target. And I discussed in detail last week and the last couple sessions that this is weak structure here based on the FOMC announcement. We have a lot of weak structure, and it is common for the market to come back and re-auction it. And there it is. It's re-auctioning, 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 and the 70s are just below us. Okay, so remember the announcement, I think the SOC was 56 and a quarter, I believe, 56 and a quarter. We're likely to get right back down there, which is balance in this area. So we launched from balance, we triggered to the upside, we checked 4100. I talked a little bit from a macro or a bigger picture perspective, how 4100 is about the limit to the earnings ratio for the S&P 500 stocks, that it would be hard to hold on to this price. And we got up there and we pushed through by a little bit, and here we are pulling back. So that was true as well. Boom, the weak structure being tested. Boom, this is how an auction works, folks. So this is how oh, I'm sorry, I should have turned that off. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, you shouldn't hear it anymore. So this is how the auction works. And then once we get down here into the balance down here, once we get down here, it's really important to see if it breaks through. So getting to the 56, very probable. Getting to the 70, of course, very probable. But the question is, does it hold this 43 to 40 area, or does it spill through? If it spills through, we have even weaker structures right down here, bringing us back to the 3850 area. Okay, so it's an if-then scenario. I can't write with this mouse today from home. It's an if-then scenario, and it's a question of, you know, when will it get to the 70? Once it gets to the 70, what does it do with the 56? Does it break through the balance that we have down here? If it breaks through, then it's very likely to fill in the rest of this weak structure below. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Here's a detail of where we are. We have not integrated this breakout structure into this. Once it gets filled in, then all of these will belong to this composite here, and you can see this composite's quite mature. So it's got a lot of fuel to push prices to the downside, and if we do push to the downside, you're looking at 42, 3842, 3820, the 3800, and then now we're moving into the 3700 again. But it is December. We do expect the Christmas seasonality. This may be just a pullback for a push higher. I don't know, but that's how the structure is. So let's take a look at, this is crude oil. Crude oil, by the way, crude had a big day yesterday. Very wide range, very strong trend. We had 6 single prints yesterday in crude on pretty good volume. What I anticipated would be a swing low for crude for a while is likely to now be challenged. We're moving right back to this lower choppy balance at 74. Crude is likely to see 74 here. Back to the ES. Let's take a look at what's expected for today. But before I do that, I'm going to remind you one more time, because I need 100 votes or better. 100 votes or better. I'm reminding you to go vote. Go to eclear.me/event-voting for our polling for charity challenge. Vote on whether the ES-NQCL will close above their prior settlement. Let us know how you vote. We'll put the positions on the event contracts, and we'll report back and let you know the results. The last 2 sessions, last Tuesday and Thursday, made a combined of like $60, something like that, maybe $60 for about $60 a risk. Okay, so that account's growing a little bit. Please participate. Let's go back and look at our plan for today. So what are we looking for on our primary scenario? Primary scenario, open auction, in range, choppity, choppity, chop. Remember the FOMC is in our blackout period. The market's waiting for a lot. Choppity, choppity. I'm expecting it to try to push higher, and I'm looking for a break of 4,000, pull back to the 4,000, and then start working itself down to the 39.70 eventually. It might go through, it might bounce ahead, but I'm expecting it to continue to fill in the single prints that exist up here. Okay, so that's the primary scenario. Open, retest the 4,000 area. We're opening at settlement at the overnight point of control at full session VWAP, full session mid. So I'm expecting chop all around. And then the second scenario, as you guessed, is a test and return, open auction, drop, take out the overnight low, retest that 39.90 area from yesterday. We went to 39.88 and a quarter, something like that. Retest. Look for an impulse. That's the key thing. If we get an impulse on the buy side, then we are likely to see 4,000 be support. This triggers along for 20 right here, back to 20, and then we're likely to walk ourselves back to the low of Friday, and so on and so forth. And that's the second scenario. Yes, I've got both sides covered. It could go down, it could go up. It's not whether or not it'll go up or down. It's reading the intention and then aligning ourselves with the trade on the pullback. Okay. Good luck today. Don't forget to vote, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. We'll let you know what the results are for today's charity trades. Take care.
.7% for that weekly red books, 5.7% year over year for the week carrying back from